Restaurant. Always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Coming up on Prime Time, it's been a long time coming as the first 14 war claimants were presented their checks during a ceremony down at Adelup. Plus, at the end of the week, Frank Ishizaki is stepping down as Department of Corrections Director after only 2 months on the job. And here for less than a day, the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, Chris Barnett, has that story.
Hafa day and good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. It was an emotional day at Adelup as the very first war claims checks were handed out to survivors more than 75 years after the end of the Japanese occupation. Nestor Lecanto reports.
It was hailed as a historic day as the first of what are expected to be several thousand war claims checks were finally handed out. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero.
We are today because of the wisdom of Armin Umku, because of the strength of Armin Umku, because of the courage of Armin Umku. And when I knew that it would take a while to get what they deserved, I said, no way in hell.
Along with the recipients, also in attendance were some of the people who helped pave the way for the payments over the years, or their family members. Among them, former Congressman Robert Underwood, who spoke about 2 milestones during his watch: the creation of the War Claims Commission and the memorial wall at the Asan Bay Overlook, which includes the names of nearly 16,000 people from Guam who died or suffered atrocities during the war. He credits former Senator George Bomba for his help, and whose mother, the late Senator Cecilia Bomba, was instrumental in the early push for war claims.
We worked hard on making sure that we got those names up there, and everybody kept saying, you're just trying to sneak those names in because you're trying to validate war claims. I said, oh, you found us out.
Former Delegate Madeline Bordallo sponsored the law that authorized the war claims payments through Section 30 funding.
This is a day that's going to go down in history. It brings us a step closer to recognizing our Manamco for the atrocities that they endured during Guam's occupation during World War II.
And the local war claims bill sponsor, Speaker Tina Barnes, who says she's not done yet. A petition drive has been launched to urge Congress to reopen the claims applications to those who didn't make it the first go-around.
I'm just asking, please don't give up hope, because we will try our very best.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Meanwhile, it was a bittersweet day for some of the survivors as it brought back memories of the war and Japanese occupation and the hardship and atrocities the people of Guam endured.
This group of 14 was the first to receive the long overdue war reparations, and Felicita Napati was the first to be presented with her war claims check.
I am very, very happy, but I am sad too, in a way, because my parents are not here, my family, but my children are here.
Juan San Nicolas called it a wonderful day.
I couldn't be much any happier than now, you know. It's a long time coming, you know, and it's just, I really thank all the people that are responsible for making this day happen.
And for Cynthia Terlahi, it was a very emotional day as the memories flooded back to the time when, as a 9-year-old, she was alone, crying in a cave, and was saved by a stranger.
And he came inside to investigate, and then when he went inside, I was all by myself. And when he asked me who I was with, I said, my parents, you know, they're probably outside. And he said there was nobody outside. So what happened is that he says, you're a child, sick child lying down there. I'm not going to leave you here by yourself. Ooh. You're not going to stay here by yourself. I'm going to take you with me. So he did. He carried me all the way to Aga.
Tan Cynthia says it was 2 days later that she saw her sister and parents coming out from the jungle, and they were finally reunited.
It hurts so much. That's just most of the time I don't want to be interviewed because it always makes me cry. I try to forget it, but I can't. It's with me all the time.
Ironically, the man who saved her was named Francisco Terlahi, and maybe it's God's will, she says, that she ended up marrying a Terlahi. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Frank Ishizaki is leaving the Department of Corrections. He's only been on the job for 2 months. According to a memo which was obtained by KUAM, he will be stepping down at the end of the week. Ishizaki acknowledges there's more work, but has established a plan to reduce recidivism and is counting on his staff to execute the needed changes and improvements. Although almost 40 new corrections officers have been hired, they still need more parole officers, caseworkers, psych techs, and corrections officers. The governor appointed Ishizaki to the position last November after Samantha Brennan quit amid criticism of her job performance. KUAM has learned he is resigning for health reasons. The chief of the National Guard Bureau makes a brief visit to the island and has a closed-door meeting with the governor. Chris Barnett has more.
Chief of the National Guard Bureau, General Joseph Lengyel, making a short visit to Guam. Multiple sources telling KUAM he was going to meet with the governor, but Adelup wouldn't confirm it. We managed to catch the general walking out of Governor Lulian Guerrero's chambers, and we asked him what the meeting was about.
I just came to talk to her about the National Guard, the Guam National Guard. Make sure I checked in with her as I got out here and into the Pacific.
Guard sources also told us General Lengyel would be accompanied by the Guard Bureau's top lawyer, Brigadier General Chris Refrano, and he was. These sources saying General Refrano may have been here because of investigations into local guard issues under Adjutant General Esther Agagi's watch. Governor's advisor on military affairs, Carlotta Leon Guerrero, said she wasn't involved with the meeting. Military Affairs Oversight Senator Pito Terlahi was not invited to the meeting, according to a staffer. And Adelup Director of Policy, Carlo Branch, said he wasn't at the meeting. Guam Guard PIO Major Josephine Blas yesterday said she was guided to not comment on the visit. Meanwhile, Adelup Chief of Staff Tony Babauta said the visit was strictly courtesy.
He shared with her recognition that the Guam's National Guard remains one of the top 5 in the country, and also thanked her and the Guard for their presence around the world in carrying out various missions.
Well, it's a very important part, and National Guard here is a great National Guard. I see them all over the world, and they're deployed in many parts of the world, and so I always want to come and give the governor an update whenever I can.
We asked Babauta if the controversial transition report that led to former TAG Roderick Leon Guerrero's ouster, any of the concerns in several anonymous letters critical of Agagi leadership and command staff, or a command climate survey were discussed by Generals Lengyel or Refrano.
I'm not aware that anything like that was discussed between the governor and the general. In large part, it was a courtesy call for General Lengyel since he was touring the area.
As we reported, the governor wrote to Lengyel last year requesting authority to allow TAG Agagi to wear a rank above her actual rank pending federal recognition of her state promotion to colonel, but that request was denied. Meanwhile, another anonymous letter criticizing Guard leadership sent to media outlets today. The latest letter laying out concerns about Command Sergeant Major Agnes Diaz and also details alleged improprieties involving the rehiring of former Guard members who weren't eligible for a return to service. The letter reads, quote, "We don't know which is a better environment, Barragata Readiness Center or Afghanistan. At Afghanistan, we have each other's back," end quote. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
They have the ability to fly nonstop for more than 24 hours, can detect, track, and identify naval vessels, and they're on Guam. According to national media reports, 2 new U.S. Navy drones manufactured by Northrop Grumman are on island on their inaugural mission to expand the surveillance capabilities in the area. According to the Navy, the MQ-4C Triton drones will serve as part of an early operational capability to develop a concept of operations for the high-altitude, long-endurance systems. And no new information is being released on the Naval Criminal Investigative Service probe into explicit videos taken aboard the Guam-based submarine tender, the U.S. Emroy S. Land. According to Joint Region Marianas Public Affairs Officer Lieutenant Commander Rick Moore, NCIS is investigating a report of non-consensual online distribution of explicit videos and images of service members. The investigation is in the early stages and it would be inappropriate for the Navy to discuss specifics, end quote. NBC News has reported that videos of service members were secretly taped through a peephole in a bathroom. The videos were then reportedly shared on the pornographic website Pornhub. In a statement, Moore said the potential victims are being notified in a coordinated effort by NCIS, command leadership, and victims' legal counsel. He said the website hosting the videos and images has complied with a request to remove the videos and images and is cooperating with the ongoing investigation. Moore said the Navy holds personnel to the highest standards of conduct. We take allegations of misconduct seriously and we are committed to a thorough investigation. The Centers for Disease Control has raised its travel precautions for China to its highest level, as there are now almost 6,000 confirmed cases and 131 dead from the coronavirus there. Outside of China, there are more than 70 confirmed cases, including at least 5 in the U.S. Locally, officials say they will continue to monitor the situation, but so far still consider Guam to be at low risk. The tourism industry has been vulnerable in the past 2 outbreaks, such as SARS, and Visitors Bureau Vice President Bobby Alvarez says they are meeting regularly with public health, customs, the airport, and other key agencies.
Our role here is basically for information and an education part. So on top of that, we also are in touch with our source markets overseas. We're getting information from them daily on what's going on over there so that when we get information that's important, we can share it and push it forward to the proper government agencies.
According to its website, the CDC recommends that travelers avoid all non-essential travel to China. Chinese officials have closed transport in and out of Wuhan and other cities in Hubei province, the source of the virus. Guam has not seen any impact yet to arrivals.
We're just all waiting for information to trickle in as it comes in. And right now, there's no real alarm because there's been a lot of controls put in place overseas. So our overseas markets are giving us information, as I stated earlier, on what's happening. So we're pretty good so far.
GBB and the airport say they have protocols to follow should they need to escalate their responses. The CDC and Guam Public Health have said the coronavirus is a rapidly evolving situation. For the latest updates, you can check the Centers for Disease Control website at cdc.gov. And Guam Public Health giving the all clear to eating romaine lettuce. This after receiving notice from the FDA that the E. coli outbreak leaked to romaine lettuce products from Salinas, California appears to be over, and contaminated romaine from this region is likely no longer available in the market. Public Health adds it did check local retailers and distributors, and to date there has been no determination that the affected romaine lettuce was available on island. GURA Director Ray Tapasna says in his professional opinion, plans for a Hagåtña homeless shelter drawn up during former Governor Eddie Calvo's term had shortcomings. Chris Barnett has more.
Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority Director Ray Tapasna defending Governor Lulian Guerrero's decision to kill plans for a homeless shelter at the newly purchased old legislature building in Hagåtña. Former Governor Eddie Calvo's administration secured Department of Interior funding for a one-stop homeless and disability center with a drop-in homeless shelter at the site, but Governor Lulian Guerrero asked DOI if that money and the building could be used to instead house more GovGuam offices as part of the plan to revitalize Hagåtña as a center for culture, arts, government, and business. GURA sent out a release yesterday going to bat for the governor's plan, saying Tapasna's agency supports the proposal to build a northern homeless shelter. Tapasna says former Governor Calvo's plan for an Hagåtña shelter had some shortcomings.
We could have taken the DOI money, bought the building, and called it a homeless shelter, but who's going to run it?
As the Guam Homeless Coalition gears up for its point-in-time homeless count this Friday, the group's head, Angelina Lepay, said the need for some type of shelter for the homeless in Hagåtña cannot be disputed.
There are people living under the bridges, on the beaches, and just if you talk to the Hagåtña mayor or the priest at Cathedral, they'll tell you that at night there's people who sleep right in front of the church doors or right there in the park. If we can give these people a place to stay for the night, that would be really helpful for them.
I don't want to get into a debate with the Guam Homeless Coalition, but quite honestly, we house 4,882 families. I think that in and of itself speaks volumes. These guys are saying, we need to do this, we need to do that, and I pose the question, how many families do you house?
Tapasnia also saying Gura wasn't consulted during the planning stages for the Hagatna shelter, and he said in his professional opinion, the proposal was not sustainable without long-term funding provided for its operations. While funding for the proposed Hagatna shelter was already approved, the governor is now asking DOI for more money to build a northern shelter. That request hasn't been approved yet. LePay, meanwhile, said the Homeless Coalition supports plans for any shelter that would help the homeless. In a statement, LePay said, quote, the GHC supports all efforts to address homelessness to include an additional northern shelter. However, we must be mindful to ensure that we don't forget the needs of our street homeless in Hagatna. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
The old legislature building will house several GovGuam agencies, including the Hagatna Renewal and Revitalization Authority, the Guam Ethics Commission, the American Jobs Center, Veterans Affairs, and the Developmental Disabilities Council. Although the oversight hearing with Department of Parks and Recreation has been set for Friday, February 7th at 5:15 p.m., the closure of the Hagatna pool continues to have huge impacts on the swimming community. Guam Swimming Federation's Chris Duenas tells us more.
As far as our availability of the pool, it's dwindled. We have no times. We can't get any times for our swimmers. And apart from that, we don't have any swim meets to base our swimmers' performance off of. And, we have a bunch of swim meets coming up, like Oceania this year. We have the Olympics this year, and we have another Worlds at the end of the year.
Currently, swimmers who are training have had to resort to using Epel Beach, but according to Senator Regine Biscoe-Lee, whose daughter is a competitive swimmer, it's come with some challenges.
Working with hazardous surf advisories, we're working with many students or swimmers have already had jelly stings, or, my daughter was attacked by triggerfish when you're swimming out there. So it's just not the environment for competitive swimming.
In the meantime, with the temporary closure of the Hagatna pool, DPR has released new hours for the Dededo pool. It is open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday to Saturday and closed on Mondays. Stick around for more news here on Prime Time.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Morning, 2 coffees and 4 orders of those new donut sticks.
You must really love these donut sticks.
I do, but they're not for me. They're for them. I will take a coffee, though.
Introducing new cinnamon sugar donut sticks from McCafe, made fresh every morning. It's a little sweet to go with your coffee.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Senate Republicans huddled after the president's legal team wrapped a final short day of opening presentations. Skylar Henry is on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are still trying to reach consensus on what to do about John Bolton.
We're adjourned. The president's lawyers wrapped up their opening arguments by taking on revelations from former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
You cannot impeach a president on an unsourced allegation.
According to the New York Times, Bolton writes in his upcoming book that President Trump directly linked military aid to Ukraine to an investigation into the Bidens.
Are we really going to require the country to wait until his book comes out to find out information that senators could have used to make the right decision on conviction or acquittal?
The battle over witnesses in the Senate trial continues to heat up, with Democrats united in their calls for new testimony, while Republicans are split.
It is very likely that I'm going to conclude that, yes, we do need to hear from witnesses.
If there's one witness, there's going to be a bunch of witnesses.
and I don't think we need any more witnesses.
Some Senate Republicans have suggested Bolton's full manuscript be viewed in a classified setting. Others continue to push for a witness swap, with Bolton's testimony in exchange for testimony from Joe Biden or his son, Hunter.
Why are they talking about a trade? They could call Hunter Biden if they had 51 votes for him today. They don't.
Mr. President.
President Trump has denied the claims in the Bolton manuscript.
Senate will enter the question and answer phase of the trial with 8 hours on Wednesday and 8 hours on Thursday. Senators from both parties will take turns asking questions to both the House managers and the president's legal team. And 2 former Guam leaders were sworn into the President's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders at the White House over the Lunar New Year weekend. Former Governor Eddie Calvo and former Senator and Public Auditor Doris Brooks were among a dozen who took their oath for the newly reestablished initiative. Vice President Mike Pence and other key White House leaders also attended the event, which included the unveiling of a new postage stamp commemorating the Year of the Golden Rat. The commission was established through an executive order the president signed in May to empower Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to improve the quality of their lives, raise the standard of living of their families and communities, and to more fully participate in the nation's economy. The Guam Memorial Hospital Authority Board of Trustees is meeting right now to discuss the Governor's Board of Trustees bylaws. According to GMH Administrator Lillian Posadas, the committee made some language revisions to the bylaws and it is up for a vote. As well, the meeting agenda includes Posadas' one-year performance evaluation. She tells KUAM some of the successes and challenges faced over the year.
We still have challenges and we still have some, areas for improvement, but the one big significant, I think, success that we've made is the CMS surveys that we've had. We had 3 surveys last year, and each of the survey exit interviews, there were, repeated citations with regards to the quality assessment and performance improvement. This time around, preliminary at the exit conference, they did not cite us for that, meaning that what corrective actions we had said we will do and we've carried through. We've fulfilled those corrective actions and we've sustained them.
According to Posadas, the results from the last survey did not have any deficiencies, and this is a great win for the hospital to continue to maintain their CMS certification. As for the biggest challenge GMH still faces are nursing shortages. Posadas says while they have recently recruited 54 registered nurses, the retention rate has increased significantly due to retirement and relocation. And for the first time in years, the Guam Police Department recruit cycle has reached double digits. According to GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau, come February, there will be 22 new graduates entering the villages. Every candidate that graduates from the academy, their first tour of duty is patrol. As Sergeant Tapau says, this is where the officers gain their knowledge and skills.
This is really going to help the community, and it's going to really help the workforce of the Guam Police Department.
Are there any certain villages that are being prioritized that these recruits will be essentially in first?
I think the priorities in itself is going to be where the demands of the calls are coming from, and also the size and the population that may need to be covered. But 22 is a big number. We've never had this size of a graduating class in years, I want to say.
And with numbers in crime on the rise, Sergeant Tapau says the department is already working on preparations for the next cycle.
We've completed a slew of background investigations into the potential candidates that are going to fill the next cycle that's coming up. So how does it help? It really helps fill the void that has been a need for not just the services to the community, but also to provide the assistance to our officers who work, our first front line is patrol.
GPD does not have an exact number on how many candidates will be in the following cycle, although Sergeant Tapau says they anticipate continued growth. Rave reviews for Port Authority of Guam management. This after the Port Board votes unanimously to adopt the evaluations of General Manager Rory Respicio and Deputy General Manager Dominic Munya. Both received exceptional performance evaluations for their first year leading the port. Respicio tells KUAM under their leadership, the port went from a negative income of $103,000 in fiscal year 2018 to a projected unaudited positive net income of $5.2 million for fiscal year 2019. Respicio said high employee morale, increased productivity, and efficiencies were important parts of the management team's successful evaluations. The board decided not to give Respicio and Muña raises at this time, Respicio said. And Respicio, Muña, and former Port Deputy GM of Finance Connie Shinohara were the administration's pick to lead the port. Shinohara resigned last year. Last night, along with kicking off the 2020 Relay for Life, the American Cancer Society Guam office celebrated their 50th anniversary on island at the Outrigger Guam Beach Resort's Fort Jose Ballroom with an exhibit of images capturing 5 decades of ACS moments on Guam and nationwide. The theme for this year is Hope Around the World. Joe Rios is the Relay for Life 2020 event lead, and during his opening remarks stressed how we as an island need to keep the event strong because it makes progress happen. He also explained why thousands continue to come out every year to support this event.
Exhausting hours late into the night to fight for something that can't guarantee a solution to a disease that has devastated so many families. Relay for Life of Guam is more than just a fundraiser. It is the largest community gathering for a cause that has affected so many people.
For more information, you can head over to relayforlife.org/Guam. Dave Delgado is up next with sports. Keep it here.
Make every day a plus.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Shell's Million Miles giveaway is back, and we're giving 100,000 United Mileage Plus miles to 10 lucky winners. You can jet off to Japan, break away to LA, or even sightsee in Paris. So, how do you make a getaway? Just use your Lucky 7 card when you fuel up with 7 gallons or more, and you're automatically entered to win. Fuel up at your nearest Shell station today and start planning your new adventure. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We're talking about an upcoming mock meet going to be held at the Paradise Fitness Center in Dedido. Mike Scroll from Paradise Fitness, Kayla Anderson, who is the meet director, and Big Tone is going to be the event judge. Now, first off, investing in the gym, you see the powerlifters there, a lot of success, and also investing in your members and getting them the equipment needed to host an event like this.
Yes, of course. The sport of powerlifting has definitely it's been revived, you know, and I think it's through the next generation traveling off island representing Guam. It's really cool to see. And powerlifting's been around for the longest time. You know, those 3 big movements: squat, bench, and deadlift. And these guys could elaborate on it, but it's good to see our member base kind of just have that camaraderie, and it's one of those communities, one of the many communities within our Paradise Fitness platform. And in Dedido, we actually invested in a lot of different equipment. We got platforms up there, we have squat racks up there, we invested in Eleiko weights, the calibrated weights that they use at these competitions. So it's been a success to see this transition and movement.
Now, Kayla, talk about how people can register and where can they register for the upcoming competition.
So people can come to Dedido Paradise location and register there. It's $30 for members and $45 for non-members.
Now, how excited are you to see an event like this? I know this is going to be the first of many to come, but and one day, hopefully, Guam can have a sanctioned event.
Yes. So Anthony and I both compete off-island, and it's really hard with travel and expenditures and everything getting there. So that's why we want to bring it here so that we also see that the powerlifting is growing, especially in our gym. So we want them to get a feel of how it is to actually compete.
And for you, Tone, as a judge, what are you looking for as far as lifts, and what's the setting going to be like for these lifters?
So pretty much we're just there to have fun. It's going to be a mock meet. It's one of Guam's first, or it's actually our first one in Paradise. So everybody's competing just pretty much for fun, to get to know everything. But I'll be looking for, squat, your depth. I'm not going to be too crazy on it. Your bench, just very slight pause. And then deadlift, just a proper knee lockout. But other than that, it's just for everybody to have fun and to experience what we experience when we go off island to compete.
And for each lift, are they going to have 3 attempts? Is it going to be like a
yeah? So pretty much it's going to be a full what we do 9 lifts, 3 squats, 3 benches, 3 deadlifts, and whatever, hit your personal records that day and just have fun with it.
And for you, Kayla, putting this thing together with the help of Paradise
Yes,
Fitness,
with the help of Paradise.
Are you just looking to call out more female competitors just to embrace this sport and get involved?
Oh yeah, so far I think we have about 5 female or lifters who've already signed up for it. So I'm excited, and I hope that more will sign up and come out.
And these female lifters, they've pulled some
yeah.
pretty heavy weight.
Yes. Yes.
And for yourself, you said your max on the deadlift was? Throw that number out there.
Oh
bro.
my gosh, it's only 390. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on the show. That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
What is Whole Home Wi-Fi? Whole Home Wi-Fi spreads Wi-Fi across your entire home. Pods plug straight into the wall. No messy cables. They spread the internet from your modem to every corner of your home at full speed. Whole Home Wi-Fi doesn't just make your Wi-Fi faster. It intelligently adapts to your environment and manages your Wi-Fi 24/7 based on insight like the number and types of devices connected to your home. Whole Home Wi-Fi, powered by Plume. Learn more at docomopacific.com.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shoutouts from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
All right, everybody, on this January 29th, we say middle of the week, happy birthday and half a day to Elijah. Happy birthday to you. Also, happy birthday to John Edward Leon Guerrero. Happy birthday blessings, Daddy. This shout out comes from Maddie, Johnny, and the entire familia. And also born yesterday, but getting happy belated birthday wishes nonetheless, is Jariah Sablan. We hope all 3 of you and everybody out there who had a birthday today had a fantastic, fantastic Wednesday.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birthday. That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Green Energy Solutions, Inc. Visit GESIGuam.com or call 647-8111 for more details on how we can help your business save money.
Half a day, everybody. I'm Jason Salas. Thank you so much for streaming us or watching us on KUAM TV, because the devastation that occurred because of the Taal volcano in the Philippines has affected all of us as Guamanians, not only native Filipinos, but Chamorros, Caucasians, everybody that lives on Guam, because we are all one family and we want to make sure we take care of our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, the people that we care about. So I have 3 members of the Filipino community of Guam and some of the very broad, and what Roy Adanay, we'll start with you. 27 Filipino community groups on Guam have all gathered, and we also have from the Basta organization 2 dear friends of mine, 2 former teachers of mine from Simon Sanchez High School, the woman who literally taught me how to multiply polynomials, Miss Marie Cummings. I can only call you Mrs. Cummings after all these years, so very good to see you.
Thank you.
All right,
Good
and
to
Dr.
see you
Lyle
too.
Cummings.
Hi.
Longtime educator on Guam. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for what you're doing, for allowing us to be able to have an outlet where we can continue to give back and be able to give to the recovery effort. So Roy, what's being done to help?
Well, the Filipino community Guam has a long history of responding right away to what's going on out there in the community.
Absolutely.
And we've been made aware a few weeks ago of an eruption that occurred in the central part of the Philippines. And at this moment of time, there are still around 70,000 people in the evacuation center, and there's at least around 500,000 people has been displaced. So we're hearing these numbers and seeing these numbers. The Filipino community of Guam, together with the BASA group, which is the Batangas Association, Batangas and Southern Tagalog Association, has responded immediately to the needs of our folks, not only there in the Philippines, but here in Guam. The first thing that we did is actually there were a lot of people that were stranded at the airport, and we responded by feeding those individuals. We have people coming from the States going back to the Philippines, but they could never go there. And we have people who are Filipinos or tourists, and we assisted them at the airport. Now we're looking at a big scaled disruption in people's lives over here. So we sought the assistance of the president of the BASA group, Mrs. Cummings over here, to be able to mobilize again the Filipino community and the rest of the community here in Guam.
Well, let's hear from the lovely lady who actually got this started, and certainly more help is needed. So what can we as a community and as a family do to contribute?
Well, we are soliciting monetary donations for these Taal volcano victims. And what we plan to do is, as a group of 6, we're planning to go to the Philippines and personally deliver our financial help. And if we need to buy in-kind goods in the PI, then that's where we're going to do it.
Now, if people would like to, Doc, if people would like to make monetary contributions, obviously that's probably like the most universally accepted, and probably like that'll do the most good, because then you can purchase whatever you need. But if people have, as your wife said, in-kind donations they would like to make, supplies, non-perishable items, may they do so as well?
There are other outfits who are accepting in-kind donation. But for now, we are only accepting financial donation.
Okay, very good.
We certainly would like to respond right away to the needs out there, and it's been decided by the group that a monetary donation is actually will be the most ideal and the fastest way for us to be able to give our help in there. And you may actually drop off all your charitable donation. We have several places. We have at National Office Supply, both in Tamuning and here in Upper Tumon, and we also have places in Aganya Shopping Center.
Time Circle in Aganya Shopping Center, Time Circle in the Micronesia Mall, and also B&B Trading.
But if you are really wanting to have people come and pick up, I know people are busy, you want to come into your businesses and present those particular donation, you may actually call Mrs. Cummings, and her number is?
482-4924.
Okay, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are saying, I would also like to contribute in sweat equity. I would like to. I would like to volunteer some of my time. I've got a truck. My friends and I, or my team, our church group, we'd like to go down there and help you, because we realize that is a lot of work.
Definitely. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're very successful in doing fundraising at the flea market. And if those people who would like to come and help us, solicit funds in there, they're more than certainly welcome. We have also individuals that are just like trying to connect us with some other families or areas that relief probably has not reached. We're also willing to hear those particular information. A lot of people have really responded to our call over here, and clearly the Bayanihan spirit, the spirit of helping one another, is very much alive here in Guam. I really appreciate individuals, businesses, organizations that continually, so we're knocking not only in your doors, but we're also knocking into your hearts and your pockets to be able to respond to this very, very long devastation. Note also, Jason, that as compared to other devastation that occurred in the past, this is a much more in the long-term thing. As of this morning, there are still many towns and barangays wherein they're not allowed to go back. So we're talking about, it's not just like a 2-week type of devastation. They probably won't be able to go back there for good. And that's something, though, that we're trying to respond to.
And that's why we may, if I may be so bold, we as Chamorros are very sympathetic and empathetic to this plight, because we have gone through so many things with typhoons and earthquakes and what have you. And the way we are naturally is the way that our friends in the Philippines are. Is if one village is suffering, we all suffer, so we all jump in and help.
Definitely. And we have also people that are just bringing their coins. And, you know, many of us have like coins that are just like sitting out there in our homes and in your glove compartment. And during their Saturday and Sunday event there at the flea market, people were bringing in their little bottles, all their coins. Every cent really, really counts. And we encourage you guys, don't be ashamed to be able to, if you have $1, if you have $2, if you have $5 for down, we gladly accept any type of donation.
Anything goes a long way. Okay, now I do want to mention the fact that, you know, you shined light on the fact that you were helping out at the airport. We did a story on that, and it was, the images were remarkable because there were so many people, you know, they never anticipated getting stuck. So very, very quickly before we go to commercial break, what was that like, being able to go there, you know, deliver a hot meal, just tell people, you know, it's going to be okay. You know, we're from here. We realize we're all one family. We want to help.
Yeah. Well, it was a very last minute thing. People called us from the airport. They informed us that there's a need out there. We mobilized right away. We call in, what do you call it, our friend Mr. Junas Paldon, and said, could you please leave your food entity open for a while, because we really need to gather these things, and handing it to them. And you just saw the appreciation from each individual out there. They're really grateful, and they said, like, I didn't realize that your group would be so helpful up over here.
Well, you're all truly doing the Lord's work. So thank you very much, and we look forward to helping you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please stay tuned. We're back after this.
The Holiday Pledge is definitely like an extension of the Holiday spirit, which is all about family. It doesn't matter where you're from or who you are. I wear this uniform. I'm definitely proud of my job and what we do. I not only live it in the uniform, but outside of the uniform as well. It's definitely